This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. It's Christmas Eve, the 24th of December, 2025. I'm Clayton Neville in for John Trout. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Democrats are up in arms over redactions and the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein document release. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Massive flooding at sea level, piles of snow in the mountains. The West braces for more ugly weather. I'm Rich Johnson.
The Supreme Court has refused to allow the Trump administration to deploy National Guard troops in the Chicago area. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The S&P 500 index opens this morning for a half day of trading on this Christmas Eve at a new record high. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Officials say at least 5 people are dead following the crash of a small Mexican Navy plane near Galveston. I'm Mike Hempen.
An explosion rocks a Philadelphia area nursing home, and a Conway plans to run for Congress. All ahead on America in the Morning. The Justice Department is continuing to roll out the release of tens of thousands of documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. But Democrats argue the redactions contained in some of those documents, as well as the timing of the release, violates the law passed by Congress a few weeks ago. John Stolnis has more from Washington.
In the latest tranche of documents released by the Justice Department, the largest so far, there are a number of mentions of President Trump, although most of them are from news clippings. One mention came from an assistant prosecuting attorney from the Southern District of New York, who said in an email that flight records they received on January 6, 2020, showed Trump was on Epstein's jet, quote, many more times than has been previously reported. Trump was listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights from 1993 to 1996, according to this email, inside the time span that would likely be covered in any criminal charges against Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell. Another letter purported to be from Epstein to another convicted sex offender, ex-USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar, made multiple lewd references to Trump. The DOJ said on social media that the FBI had determined that email was a fake. On many of the documents, certain names of co-conspirators were blacked out, while some names of the victims were not redacted, drawing the ire of at least one Epstein survivor, Danielle Bensky, speaking on CNN.
It feels a little bit like, for me, the re-victimization is in the system's failures now. It is with the DOJ right now. To see the carelessness of the way that they're handling, survivors, it's just abhorrent.
The law passed by Congress earlier last month required the DOJ to release all of the documents at once, not in tranches, and called for all of the documents to unredact anything that wasn't classified. Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia tells CNN that's not what's happened.
The redactions are so sloppy and illegal that they are, on one hand, putting names of survivors in these documents that are not redacted. And in these same documents, they're taking extra time and being extra careful to redact the names of the co-conspirators, of the men who committed the abuse, over-redacting documents that the survivors never wanted. And certainly they're not in line with what the law says.
Internet sleuths on social media noted that copying and pasting the redacted information from the DOJ's PDF files into another format actually removes the redaction. John Stolnis, Washington.
A huge storm could dump a month's worth of rain onto Southern California in just a couple days. But that's just one problem among many facing people along the entire West Coast. Correspondent Rich Johnson has more from Seattle.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's message to her citizens is short and simple.
Stay safe, be prepared, and stay informed.
That's thanks to an atmospheric river bringing as much as 4 inches of rain to the LA area and maybe 8 inches to the north. And that is more than enough for National Weather Service meteorologist Ariel Cohen to say, if you're planning on driving on Christmas Eve in the Southland, think again.
By the time we get to late Wednesday through Friday, many areas will likely be experiencing significant flooding along with rock slides and mudslides.
That's especially true in the places that were devastated by fire in the past year, the Eaton and Palisades areas. To the north, this man near Modesto moved his motorhome out of harm's way as he watched the Tuolumne River rise.
That little bit of rain we're getting is putting a lot of water up on there, and that's my concern. Is the more rain you get, the bigger this will get.
The comment courtesy of KXTV in Sacramento. Flash floods have already claimed at least one life in Northern California. Farther north, another system is soaking the already soaked Pacific Northwest, where the worry isn't so much about flooding as it is massive trees sitting in saturated soil falling over.
I'm trying not to take on that anxiety and just kind of go about business as usual.
But Jonathan Martin in Portland's also keeping an eye on a huge tree in the empty lot next to his house. Another tree on that lot fell over about 2 years ago, destroying the home and seriously injuring the owner. Martin's comment courtesy of KATU. And outside Seattle, Interstate 90 over the Cascade Mountains will be busier than usual thanks to the closure of U.S. Highway 2, which was damaged in the last round of storms. But unlike the previous warm systems that flooded rivers, this system is bringing snow to the Cascades, and with it, skiing.
We have all of our lifts open as well. Initially, we weren't thinking we'd be able to get all of them, but it snowed 8 inches last night, and we're sitting pretty.
Carter Rich at the ski area atop Snoqualmie Pass, courtesy of KOMO. I'm Rich Johnson in Seattle.
A massive explosion at a nursing home in Pennsylvania turns deadly. We'll have the horrifying details when America in the Morning returns after this. Americans waking up on this Christmas Eve to unseasonably warm temperatures. It doesn't necessarily feel a lot like Christmas everywhere. Here's Matt Rindy.
A very large and powerful storm continues to encompass the entire West Coast from Washington to California and eastward to Idaho and western Montana, southward through Arizona. This is going to produce widespread heavy rainfall. Heavy rain has already fallen over many northern areas, but the heaviest today will be across Southern California, where some locations will receive upwards of 4 to 8 inches by Christmas morning. And this is going to lead to some flooding concerns throughout the area, as well as a significant risk for mudslides. Heavier rain will even extend into portions of southern Nevada. Meanwhile, snow will fall across the Sierra Nevada mountains, with some places getting 1 to 2 feet of snow by Christmas morning, and snow levels will fall Christmas Day with additional moderate to heavy amounts likely. Meanwhile, rain will continue to shift eastward tonight into Utah and portions of Wyoming and Colorado. Farther east through the Plains states, it will be warm for this time of year in some locations. There will still be some teens and 20s in northern North Dakota into Minnesota, but some afternoon temperatures will be in the 60s in southern South Dakota, and that warmth will continue southward through Nebraska into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, with highs in 80s in parts of Kansas down to Texas. That trend will slide eastward through the rest of the Central Plains into the Tennessee Valley and southeast with 60s and 70s throughout. Some places in the southern plains will approach record levels, but the more likely day with record warmth in the southern plains will be on Christmas Day. That's the weather across America. It will be a cloudy day in Rudolph, Wisconsin, with a high of 35. It is going to be quite sunny in Dasher, Georgia, with a warm afternoon as the high approaches 80. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Remember to follow us everywhere you get your podcasts. You can listen on your preferred platform. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The United States Supreme Court has handed the Trump administration a major defeat on National Guard troop deployments. Lisa Dwyer reports on how the High Court's decision will impact the deployment of troops in U.S. cities.
The Supreme Court has refused to allow the Trump administration to deploy National Guard troops in the Chicago area to support the administration's immigration crackdown. The justices declined the Republican administration's emergency request to overturn a ruling by a U.S. district judge that had blocked the deployment of those troops. An appeals court has also refused to step in. The High Court order is not a final ruling, but could affect other lawsuits challenging President Donald Trump's attempts to deploy the military in other Democratic-led cities. The outcome is a rare Supreme Court setback for Trump. The Trump administration has won repeated victories in emergency appeals since taking office in January. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Officials say at least 2 people are dead and multiple injured after an explosion and fire at a nursing home in Pennsylvania.
We believe preliminarily that it was a gas leak that led to that. The explosion was really quite catastrophic. We know that at this time, there are at least 2 fatalities.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says that fire crews saved residents from the building that was partially collapsed when they got there.
They were quite literally climbing up ladders, handing individuals in this nursing home to police who were at times carrying 2 people on their back.
Fire Chief Kevin DiPolito with Bristol Township.
When we arrived, there was a major structural collapse with parts of the first floor into the basement.
The fire happened at the Bristol Health and Rehab Center. It's also known as Silver Lake in Bristol Township. Energy officials confirm that crews responded ahead of the explosion after getting reports of a gas odor. It happened while they were there. And the holiday shopping season is just about rounding out, at least the pre-Christmas spending. We'll have a business report when America in the Morning returns after this. The Business Report sponsored by Gusto. Gusto is a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small businesses. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger with Wednesday Business.
Wall Street opens this morning for Christmas Eve trading after a winning day for stocks and a record high close for the S&P 500 index yesterday. Today, the markets will close at 1 p.m. Eastern. Novo Nordisk rose 7% yesterday after the FDA approved its weight loss pill, so people who don't like to inject Wegovy will have a daily pill version. It'll cost less than the shot at only about $150 a month. Consumer confidence tanked again, sinking to the lowest level since President Trump's tariff rollout back in April.
December consumer confidence from the Conference Board expected to come in around 91 as a disappointment, comes in at 89.1. If we look at the present situation, it comes in at 116.8. This is a huge miss.
CNBC's Rick Santelli. But people are spending in new Visa card data as consumers shop. The Trump administration will start garnishing the wages of student loan borrowers who are in default next month. Today is day one of the so-called Santa Claus rally period. It's a 7-day stretch, and the Santa Claus period will end Monday, January 5th. Now, there's been no Santa Claus rally for the past 2 years.
You know, these next 7 days higher more than 77% of the time. If you look at all the 7-day combinations out there, none are more likely to be higher. And then like you lay on, we were lower. We've never seen Santa not come 3 years in a row. Maybe this year could be the first. I don't think it will be. I think we probably get moved back to new highs, which aren't really that far away, and kind of put a cherry on top to the end of a pretty solid year for investors.
That's the Carson Group's Ryan Dietrich on CNBC. Stocks are on pace for a solid winning year, but look at precious metals. And people are giving those 1-ounce gold bars, little biscuits, for Christmas.
Yeah, you know, if you go back through the 70s till now, there's only been 4 times that gold's actually returned over 50%. Investors are just now starting to catch up to the gold trade, and we're really starting now to see flows enter into physical gold.
Sprott Asset Management's Steve Schatzstall on CNBC. The number one Christmas gift this year, again in the Numerator holiday survey, gift cards. Clothing is second, toys and games the third most purchased holiday gift. The Christmas Eve Powerball jackpot tonight, an estimated $1.7 billion. Also on today's watch list, we find out how many people applied for unemployment benefits last week. The markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern, and new in theaters tonight, Universal's Song Sung Blue, Sony's Anaconda, and A24's Marty Supreme.
An investigation underway in Texas after a Mexican Navy plane goes down in the Galveston Bay. We've got the details of that investigation when America in the Morning returns after these messages. Authorities in Texas are investigating as multiple people have died after a Mexican Navy plane crashes in the Lone Star State. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
Officials say at least 5 people are dead following the crash of a small Mexican Navy plane near Galveston. The Monday afternoon crash has set off a search in the waters off the Texas coast. Mexico's Navy says in a statement that 4 of the people aboard were Navy officers and 4 were civilians. It's not immediately clear who has died. 2 of the people aboard were members of a nonprofit that provides aid to Mexican children who have suffered severe burns. The statement from Mexico's Navy says the plane had an accident during its approach to Galveston, but it did not elaborate. The cause of the crash is under investigation. I'm Mike Hempen.
A critic of Donald Trump, who was once married to an important ally of the president, is planning to make a run to join the New York delegation in Congress. Correspondent Julie Walker reports on the plans of George Conway.
George Conway, a former conservative lawyer who has become one of President Trump's most outspoken critics, is taking steps toward a run for Congress in an open New York City seat, filing paperwork Monday to run as a Democrat in New York's 12th congressional district, a seat being vacated by retiring Democratic Representative Jerry Nadler. The Manhattan district is a hot ticket, with JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, also mounting a run, along with lawmakers, including Micah Lasher, community leaders, and others who want the seat. The open primary is June. The district basically stretches from the bottom to the top of Manhattan and is heavily Democratic. Julie Walker, New York.
America in the Morning on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2025, is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm Clayton Neville in for John Trout, and this is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. It's Christmas Eve. Here's what's coming up this half hour. The latest on the U.S. and Venezuela. Greta Thunberg arrested. A Delaware state trooper attacked and killed, and Kilmar Abrego Garcia remains out of ICE detention for the holidays.
A California mother is arrested in the killing of her 9-year-old daughter. Investigators call it cold-blooded and carefully planned. I'm Sue Aller.
U.S. consumers have been less confident in the economy. I'm Mike Hempen.
A cancer diagnosis for a former member of the Senate, and a new home planned for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Your new drone is cleared to fly for now. I'm the new old tech guy, Chuck Palm.
What are some of the big entertainment options coming in 2026? I'm Kevin Carr.
We'll be right back. It won't be the whitest or the coldest Christmas Eve for a lot of Americans. Matt Rindy has our unseasonably warm forecast.
Many of the Plains states will be warm for this time of year. We're looking at temperatures in the teens and 20s still in northern North Dakota into Minnesota, but some afternoon temperatures will be in the 60s in southern South Dakota, and that warmth will continue southward through Nebraska into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Some highs will be in the 80s in parts of Kansas down to Texas. That trend will slide eastward through the rest of the Central Plains into the Tennessee Valley and southeast with 60s and 70s throughout. A few places will approach record levels, but the more likely day for record warmth, especially in the southern plains, will be on Christmas Day. It will be a chillier day throughout the Great Lakes into the northeast, but temperatures will be in the 30s and 40s, and we'll have a weak area of low pressure causing some rain and drizzle to break out from eastern Iowa into southwest Michigan and then southward to Tennessee. And then this will continue into southern Pennsylvania, southward to Virginia on Christmas Day. Meanwhile, a powerful storm continues to cover the entire west coast from Washington to California and eastward through Idaho into western Montana and southward to Arizona. This is going to produce widespread heavy rainfall. Heavy rain has already fallen over many northern areas, but today the heaviest rain will be focused in southern California, and some places will see 4 to 8 inches of rain by Christmas morning, and this could lead to some flooding concerns throughout the area, and there is a significant risk for some mudslides. Heavier rain will even extend into portions of southern Nevada. Meanwhile, snow will fall across the Sierra Nevada mountains, with some places getting 1 to 2 feet of snow by Christmas morning, and snow levels will fall Christmas Day with an additional moderate to heaviest snowfall likely, and that snow and rain will continue eastward into Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado tonight. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
Remember to follow us everywhere you get your podcasts. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The Trump administration is seemingly ramping up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro as the U.S. continues to go after suspected drug smuggling boats in Latin American waters. When speaking with reporters this week, President Trump said it would be smart for Maduro to step down and warned him not to play tough. The United States believes Maduro's tied in with the drug cartels. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
This action on the boats, these are sanctioned, but these are enforcement actions. That's what they are. They are existing sanctions. And therefore, 80% of their oil is shipped through ghost fleets. Okay, so we understand what we're talking about here. We are talking about boats that are basically privateers, okay, that are flying under false flags, that turn off the transponders, that spoof their true location. They are hired to evade sanctions.
Rubio explained the hesitancy and concerns surrounding Maduro.
He's never kept any of the deals he's made in the past, which makes it difficult to consider making one in the future. Beyond that, I'm not going to speculate about what might or may not happen. Ultimately, I can tell you what our goals are and what our interests are, and that's how we've defined them.
Now, in Washington, Democrats are demanding answers about the strikes on Venezuelan boats and are pushing for congressional approval before the conflict is escalated any further. But on Fox's Hannity this week, Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin complimented the White House for being what he called proactive in getting drugs off the street. He was on Fox's Hannity.
Why wait till it comes to our streets? Why allow it to poison our family? Why allow it to poison our towns and our states?
Republican Senator Dave McCormick also spoke with Fox News.
We've got to stop this flow of fentanyl and opioids. It killed 100,000 Americans last year, 4,000 Pennsylvanians. We've got to go after these terrorists and identify them as the terrorists they are.
Over 100 suspected narco-terrorists have been killed so far in American strikes on the boats. The administration's also ordered a blockade on oil tankers from Venezuela. The military also going after a third tanker after seizing 2 last week. A gruesome discovery has led to the arrest of the mother of a missing 9-year-old California girl. Sue Aller reports that police have made an arrest in the child's brutal murder. Taken into custody was the little girl's mother.
The body of Melody Alani Buzzard, the 9-year-old child who went missing from the Lompoc area in October of this year, has been found in a rural area outside of Canesville in Wayne County, Utah.
A California mother is under arrest accused of murdering her 9-year-old daughter. Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown says this was a carefully planned crime.
But this level of criminal activity is particularly shocking given the calculated, cold-blooded, and criminally sophisticated premeditation and heartlessness that went into planning it and the ruthlessness that went into actually committing the crime.
Ashley Buzzard was arrested Tuesday in the killing of her daughter, Melody. Investigators say the 9-year-old was shot in the head and later found dead in a remote area of Utah. Melody had been missing for more than 2 months and was last seen October 9th during a road trip with her mother near the Colorado-Utah border.
Maternal filicide is rare and always difficult to comprehend.
Authorities say DNA-linked remains found in Utah to Buzzard. A shell casing from the family's home matched evidence at the scene. Investigators say she tried to avoid detection by wearing wigs and changing license plates. No motive has been determined, and officials believe she acted alone. The murder weapon has not been recovered. I'm Sue Aller.
Greta Thunberg, the climate activist and anti-Israel demonstrator who was recently taken into custody in Israel for attempting to violate maritime laws into the Gaza Strip, was arrested in London, this time for protests against the detainment of pro-Palestinians representing a terrorist group who are on a prison hunger strike. Correspondent Karen Shamas reports.
World-renowned campaigner Greta Thunberg was arrested in central London on Tuesday while supporting imprisoned pro-Palestinian activists who are on hunger strike. A video posted on social media showed the 22-year-old Swede holding a sign supporting the hunger strikers and their organisation, known as Palestine Action.
Criminalising empathy. So I don't need to express my utter disgust for the UK government and their treatment of this. It is not the first time the UK government are letting political prisoners die in prison. they are on the wrong side on history.
The British government early this year banned Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation. Her sign read, "I support Palestine Action prisoners. I oppose genocide." 8 Palestine Action activists are staging a hunger strike to protest their imprisonment while awaiting trial on charges related to a series of earlier demonstrations. The first 2 prisoners to join the protest have now been on hunger strike for 52 days, and the protest group, Prisoners for Palestine, have said they are at a critical stage where death is a real possibility. The British government has so far refused to intervene in the judicial process, saying questions about bail and detention are matters for the courts to decide. I'm Karen Shamas.
Thunberg was released on bail after her arrest. The 8 people jailed who are on a hunger strike are members of a group called Palestine Action, which was prescribed as a terrorist group after it vandalized an Air Force base in the UK earlier this year. And one NFL franchise is moving across state lines. We'll take a closer look at that move when America in the Morning returns after these messages. A Delaware state trooper is dead after a confrontation at a motor vehicle facility outside of Wilmington on Tuesday. State police report that the suspect, identified as a 44-year-old man, entered the DMV office as a customer, but soon after calmly walked over to a state trooper providing security in the office and opened fire. Police say after being shot, the trooper pushed a DMV employee out of the line of fire as the trooper was shot again. The suspect left the DMV but was soon found by a local police officer. The suspect was killed in an exchange of gunfire with that officer, and Delaware State Police expected to provide more information on the shooting later today. There are headwinds for the economy as the latest consumer confidence report continues to trend lower. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
U.S. consumers have been less confident in the economy as Americans remain anxious about prices and the impact of President Trump's tariffs. The Conference Board says its consumer confidence index fell nearly 4 points this month to 89. That is close to the 85 reading in April, when Trump rolled out his import taxes on U.S. trading partners. A measure of American short-term expectations for their income, business conditions, and the job market remain stable, but well below 80. That is the marker that can signal a recession ahead. It was the 11th straight month that reading has come in under 80. I'm Mike Hempen.
A former United States senator has announced he's been diagnosed with a terminal case of cancer. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Former Nebraska U.S. Senator Ben Sasse has announced that he has been diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. The 53-year-old Sasse resigned from the Senate in January 2023 to become the president of the University of Florida. Sasse was a vocal critic of Donald Trump and one of 7 Republican senators to vote for Trump's conviction after the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Sasse says he is determined to fight the disease, highlighting advancements in immunotherapy and other treatments as part of his hope. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A judge has ruled that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is barred from re-detaining Salvadoran native Kilmar Abrego Garcia through the Christmas holiday. In a hearing in Maryland, a U.S. district judge extended through the holiday the temporary restraining order that keeps Abrego Garcia out of federal custody while the government tries to deport him to another country. Abrego Garcia was released from immigration detention back on December 11th after the judge ruled the government had detained him without lawful authority. Garcia, who had been living in Maryland with his wife and kids, was deported in March to El Salvador despite the 2019 court order barring his removal to that country. The Trump administration claims he's a member of the criminal gang MS-13, which he says is not true. One of the NFL's most successful modern franchises is making a move across state lines. Correspondent Gethin Kulbaugh reports. Audio courtesy of KMBC TV, Kansas City, Missouri.
The Kansas City Chiefs have announced they will leave their longtime home at Arrowhead Stadium for a new domed stadium that will be built across the Kansas-Missouri state line and be ready for the start of the 2031 season.
Kansas is not a flyover state. We are a touchdown state.
The announcement came shortly after a council of Kansas lawmakers voted unanimously to allow for star bonds to be issued to cover up to 70% of the cost of the stadium and accompanying mixed-use district.
It's a state-of-the-art stadium, a world-class training facility, a new team headquarters, and a vibrant mixed-use development. It's a public-private partnership whose primary beneficiaries are the citizens of the greater Kansas City area.
The Chiefs have played at Arrowhead in Kansas City, Missouri since 1972. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Chinese-made drones will now face a government security ban taking flight here in the U.S. Chuck Palm has this story today in his news segment, The New Old Tech Guy.
The FCC has just added all foreign-made drones and their critical components to its national security covered list. This effectively means that new models from companies like China's DJI and Autel are not going to get approvals to sell here in the United States. This decision stems from an interagency review that found these unmanned aircraft pose unacceptable risks. Things like potential unauthorized surveillance or data leaks that send information back to our foreign adversaries. Not to worry, if you got one this year or have an older DJI drone, you're still able to fly it, and retailers can still sell existing stock of previously approved models. This only applies to future imports and new designs. The bigger picture on this story is that earlier this year, steep tariffs on Chinese-made drones piled on up to 170% increase in costs, and in some cases, deliberately excluding them from exemptions given to other electronics. U.S.-made drones historically have been pricier because they don't benefit from the massive scale of overseas production. Industry watchers say this could mean higher costs overall for consumers and professionals in the short term, as domestic options often lack the same feature set or the affordability. For more on this story, follow thenewOldTechGuy.com. I'm Chuck Palm.
Robert Workman has sports.
NBA Tuesday, the Spurs spanked the Thunder 130-110. That's San Antonio's second win over the defending champions in 10 days after OKC had started the season 24-1. Victor Wembanyama.
The efforts we do on the court are paying off. We're not doing them, and it's not like we're doing it and not seeing any results, It's contagious, but we need to make it even more contagious and take pleasure from playing games like this.
The Spurs have now won 7 in a row. Mavericks nipped the Nuggets 131-130, 33 for Cooper Flagg, 31 for Anthony Davis. Cavaliers had 9 players in double figures as they punished the Pelicans, ending a 5-game winning run for New Orleans. Timberwolves knocked off the Knicks, 38 for Anthony Edwards in his first win over former teammate Karl Anthony Towns, who had a game-high 40 points. Kawhi Leonard had 41 to lead the Clippers over the Rockets. Wins for the Grizzlies, Nets, Bulls, Pistons, Magic, Hornets, Raptors, Bucks, and Suns. Now the association takes Christmas Eve off with a 5 spot coming up on Christmas Day. NHL, Leon Draisaitl had a hat trick. Connor McDavid assisted on every Edmonton goal as the Oilers snuffed out the Flames 5-1. Sabres won their 7th straight, 3-2 over the Senators in overtime. That's Buffalo's best run in 7 years. Avalanche blanked the Mammoth 1-0 for their 6th win in a row, 32 saves for Scott Wedgwood. Maple Leafs popped the Penguins, 2 goals and 2 assists for William Nylander. Rangers scored 5 times in the third to crush the Capitals. Victories for the Kraken, Red Wings, Canadiens, Islanders, Flyers, Panthers, Predators, and Golden Knights. The Icemen have a 3-day respite before returning to action on Saturday. That's Wednesday Sports.
And with the end of 2025 now a week away, a lot of excitement builds for entertainment and movies in the year ahead. We've got a quick preview when America in the Morning returns after this. A singer-songwriter best known for his hit song, Driving Home for Christmas, has passed away. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports on the passing of Chris Rea.
I'm driving home for Christmas.
That's Chris Rea.
Oh, I can't wait to see those faces.
His family says the singer-songwriter has died after a short illness. His albums The Road to Hell and Auberge both reached #1. The song Road to Hell quite literally about the frustrations of driving on England's motorways during rush hour. In 2011, he told the AP,
I see myself as a musician that's looking for images for people to watch while they're listening to my music. So consequently, the music is always finished. And then it's what do you do with the music?
Driving home for Christmas, yeah. Well, I'm moving down that line.
Chris Rea was 74.
And it's been so long.
I'm Ben Thomas.
But I will be there. I sing this song.
As 2025 is preparing to close, now just 7 days away, it's time to look forward to see what entertainment surprises could be in store for 2026. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has the story.
As we roll into the last week of 2025, let's look ahead to big entertainment choices in 2026. Hot on the heels of the Wicked films, Ariana Grande will be riding the Eternal Sunshine Tour across the nation starting in June.
How bad do you want me?
In February, Lady Gaga will be coming with the Mayhem Ball Tour.
Welcome to the jungle!
Plus, classic rock groups like Guns N' Roses, My Chemical Romance, and Metallica are touring as well.
Okay, this does not look like this is gonna end well. For you guys.
Movie fans who don't have superhero fatigue can welcome Supergirl on June 26, Spider-Man Brand New Day on July 31st, and Avengers Doomsday on December 18th.
I am a girl who loves my island.
Other anticipated releases include the live-action version of Moana on July 10th, the Super Mario Galaxy movie on April 3rd, The Mandalorian and Grogu on May 22nd, and Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey on July 17th.
There's no turning back.
On HBO, Euphoria returns in April, as well as the Game of Thrones spin-offs House of Dragon this summer and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms on January 18th.
Come with me to Starfleet Academy.
Paramount Plus's Star Trek Starfleet Academy debuts in January, One Piece returns to Netflix in March, and The Boys' final season hits Prime in April. I'm Kevin Carr.
America in the Morning for Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm Clayton Neville in for John Trout, and this is Westwood One.